Hello, welcome or welcome back. Today we are talking on the topic of losing weight. And if this is something that you are faced with in this reality, if this is a challenge that you are currently experiencing in your reality, I want to help make that less of a struggle for you. In fact, make it so that you can overcome it and move on to experiencing other things in your reality, because essentially that's what we're here for, to overcome the challenges that we've set up so that we can get on to experiencing even more of our amazing infinite potential. So that's what we're talking about today. Stick around. My name is Hedley Derenzie. I'm a qualified life coach, author, and I am super passionate about the amazing teachings of the Law of Assumption as originally taught by the great American mystic Neville Goddard. It is the stories that we tell that create our life. So if you want to change any part of your life, then you need to start by changing the story. And if you want to create the most amazing life, then you need to know how to tell the most amazing stories. And that is where these teachings can help. And that is why I am here. Since rediscovering these teachings, I'm telling myself much better stories, and I want to help you to do the same. If you would like help with this in terms of changing any part of your life that you're not happy with at the moment, then I am available for one-to-one coaching. And I also have a free 21-day Set Yourself Up with the Ultimate Self-Concept course, which is the ultimate story that we all need to be telling about ourselves. And that is available for instant access. Or if you just want to stay connected, I am on Instagram. All of those details you'll find in the comments box below. So today we are talking on the topic of losing weight, because this is something that a few of you have been asking for. And it's actually a topic that I have been kind of ruminating on, wanting to do a video on it, because I know that it is something that a lot of people are faced with in this particular reality, and it's a challenge that they struggle with, and I want to help you overcome it so that you can get on to experiencing other things that you want to experience in life. And that's what we're really here for. We're here to experience ourselves as God in physical form, meaning imagination in physical form, and overcome the challenges that we've set up for ourselves in this particular reality so that we can know who we are, so that we can know we are God, as in imagination in physical form, so that we can marry the impossible with the possible and expand into greater and greater versions of ourselves. From my perspective, weight is not something that I have been challenged with in this particular reality. I've certainly set myself up with other physical challenges that I've had to deal with and overcome in my own life. So it doesn't matter what challenges you're faced with in terms of the physical body. We all have something that we've set ourselves up with to overcome. We're all overcoming something in terms of our physical body and our physical expression, and we've set it up perfectly because we are that powerful and we're that amazing. But today I wanted to focus specifically on the topic of weight and losing weight. Let's go back to the basics. So according to the Law of Assumption and many other teachings, consciousness creates reality. So reality is the outpicturing of consciousness, and consciousness is just the stories that we're telling ourselves. It's the states of consciousness that we're holding that get pushed out and reflected back in physical form in terms of circumstances and situations and events that occur in our reality. So we have been conditioned to believe that reality is separate to us and that it's occurring to us and that we don't have any influence over it, and that we are in a sense victim to it. And if we work hard and play hard and like push against it as, as over and over and often as we can, we will eventually get somewhere. But that is actually not how things work. The way things work is we are the cause of reality through consciousness, through our imagination. So if we want to change anything in our reality, rather than going out and trying to fix it from outside of us, then we actually go within and we change and shift and align our consciousness to the state of consciousness that we want to experience, knowing that eventually reality has to catch up and reflect that back. So if you are new to these teachings, that might sound a little bit overwhelming, but just stick with it, because it takes a little bit of repetition to really embed this way of thinking and being, because it is backwards to the way we were brought up, essentially. And again, that's part of the setup too. It's all a setup, and it's brilliant. And when you know it's a setup and you know the rules of the game and how to play it, then you can really overcome anything and move on and experience even more and greater experiences. Let's talk about weight. The topic of losing weight and the industry of weight loss in itself is going to set you up for a struggle. Just the term alone. So keep in mind, whatever you're focused on, whatever you are conscious of predominantly, so whatever is the dominant story in consciousness is what gets pushed out and reflected back. Just like anything, you cannot get out of a problem by focusing on the problem. However, the solution does lie in the problem. You can't serve two masters, so you have to start telling the new story of what it is that you want to experience if you want to experience a different reality. So when it comes to weight loss, the whole industry and the way people's thinking is set up around and conditioned around weight loss is to focus on weight. By focusing and becoming conscious of those terms, you are going to get more of that. If you think of the word weight and what that means to you, that in itself is going to bring you more weight. Now, loss, I want to ask you, what are your assumptions of loss? Because if you have a negative assumption of loss, it's going to be very difficult for you to want to experience and move towards that. We have been conditioned to move away from loss. So let's look at these two terms together: weight and loss. If we go back to the original definition of the word, so weight, it comes from Old English, it's weighing, weight, downward force of a body, heaviness. So by the definition alone, the word itself is a downward pulling kind of energy. And it also comes in a figurative sense in the late 14th century, meaning burden. By you focusing on weight, simply by being conscious of weight, it's a very heavy downward energy just in that word alone. Now let's look at loss. Comes again from Old English, loss, ruin or destruction. Now think of those two terms based on those definitions. You've got a heavy downward burden energy and pain and destruction. If that's the experience that you're setting up for yourself, you can see that's not going to be the easiest experience for you. Now the whole weight loss industry is founded on those two terms, and that's only going to give you more of what weight and loss represent to you. Whatever you're conscious of is what's going to get reflected back in your reality, whatever the dominant story is. So weight and loss is not where you want to be directing your conscious attention. Remember, reality follows imagination, it follows consciousness to the nth degree, meaning it is waiting for your instructions and it is purely objective. It doesn't care what instructions you give it. It will give you exactly the instructions you give it. So when you give it weight loss, you are giving it a very dense, hard, difficult struggle kind of energy. You're going to get that reflected back. So you might lose the weight, but you'll find yourself in a cycle of struggle with it. It's going to be an ongoing thing because you're focused on weight and loss. Now, what we want to do is turn our attention and consciousness to what it is that you want to experience. And when it comes to weight loss, really what you're looking for is lightness. You are looking to feel light. Light in the body, light in the legs, light in the hips, light in the stomach, light in the arms, light wherever it is that you want to experience that other term that we're no longer going to talk about because it's no longer in consciousness. That's what you want to experience. You want to experience lightness and strength and power and groundedness and health and fitness and agility and whatever it is that you want to experience. That's where you need to be turning your attention to. When you step on the scales, you want to be measuring lightness. And because lightness is more associated with our true selves, our true nature. So imagination, if we are God, which is consciousness, and consciousness essentially at its purest form is light, when we move our consciousness and attention to becoming lighter, we're essentially becoming more of who we truly are. By focusing on the other thing that we're no longer talking about, we're actually focusing on who we're not. We are not these bodies. These bodies are just expressions of light. They're given to us so that we can experience ourselves through these physical senses. So when we focus on becoming lighter and experiencing more lightness in the body, and our body being an expression of lightness, that is a much easier state of consciousness to hold. And when we're able to hold that state of consciousness of lightness, then reality has to catch up and reflect that back in our bodies. These will reflect back the state of consciousness that we're holding. So if we're holding a consciousness of lightness, that has to get reflected back in reality. So when it comes to this topic, I want you to delete the old phrase from your vocabulary and consciousness. They are no longer words that you speak. They are no longer words that you think. And if you do think them, turn your attention towards the consciousness of lightness. So eating light foods, feeling a sense of lightness, and also fullness. Fullness is a good thing to experience as well. So we want to eat until we're full. We're fullness of light. So we're full of light. And then we want to experience lightness in our body. Now also, We no longer want to count calories, because as long as you're counting calories, you're going to be experiencing the counting of calories. So you're going to be bringing in calories into your awareness, into your experience, into your reality. So we want to delete that as well. And we want to measure lightness. We want to feel light, focus on lightness, lightness in food, lightness in body, lightness in energy. Everything then becomes focused towards lightness, and that becomes the state of consciousness that you hold. And when that becomes the dominant story, when lightness becomes the dominant story, then that will get reflected back in your 3D reality, which includes your physical body. Reality is just the reflection of light anyway. It's just these particles getting reflected back on the screens of our mind. Everything comes from imagination, meaning God, meaning light. So therefore, by us returning to that state of consciousness, then that is going to be an easier journey for us, because that is who we are already. And so we are just becoming more of who we already are, which is light. Please remember, you are the creators of your reality. You are the superstar of your show. You are the writer, the producer, the director, and the actor in your movie. What you assume to be true will be so. So assume the best for you and assume the best for everyone in your movie too, and you will have an amazing life. This is my wish for you. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like, comment, and share with family and friends. And if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I would love to have you, and make sure you click that subscribe button or that notification button, whatever it is, so that you never miss a video. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks. Bye.